Michelle, are you ready?
I was born ready.
She's an award-winning author, speaker, and podcast host who serves on the National Faith Advisory Council. She supported Donald J. Trump for president before it was cool, from her she shed in her beautiful backyard. This is the Michelle Moore Show.
We're reclaiming this city as a place of holy ground. We're building you an altar with our burning hearts laid down. We'll worship till our strongholds start to crumble at the sound of your holy name, Jesus. Sing this out. This is all yours, this is all yours. Every word we sing, every melody, it's all yours. This is all yours. Every song we bring is an offering to you, Lord. 'Cause you, Lord, are worthy of no less than everything.
We dedicate this temple and we're giving you our trust. As we seek your presence, every idol turns to dust. Purify our motives by the power of your love and your holy name, Jesus. Say, this is all yours, this is all yours. Every word we sing, every melody, it's all yours. This is all yours. Every song we bring is an offering to you, Lord. It's you, Lord, are worthy of no less. This is all yours, this is all yours. Every word we sing, every melody, it's all yours. This is all yours. Every song we bring is an offering to you, Lord. It's you, Lord, are worthy of no less than everything. It all comes from you. It all goes to you. It all comes from you. It all goes to you. Come on, sing it. It all comes from you. It all goes to you. It all comes from you. It all goes to you. Sing it. It all comes from you. It all goes to you. It all comes from you. It all comes from you. It all goes to you. It all comes from you. This is all yours. This is all yours. Every word we sing, every melody, it's all yours. This is all yours. Every song we bring is an offering to you, Lord. 'Cause you, Lord, are worthy of no less. And this is all yours. This is all yours. Every word we sing, every melody, this is all yours. Every song we bring is an offering to you, Lord. 'Cause you, Lord, are worthy of no less than everything.
Hi, everyone. So glad that you're with us today. It's Thursday. Tomorrow's our last day before the winter break. And of course, we're going to take 2 weeks off and enjoy the holidays and just some time with family and get a few things done that we got on the list to do. So, we think it'd be a break time, but it's really not. We're going to work. That's how it works. But anyways, I just wanted to let you know, and just in case you've been missing the announcements that we're taking a winter break for 2 weeks is what we call it, because it's all of kinds of stuff we're doing. It goes through the first of the year. So, and then remember I was saying that I'd done a show, an X Space, I guess is what you really call it, on X with Dr. Margaret. She's been here on the show a couple of times. We love her. Well, I had said that I might air it on our Rumble channel, Odyssey, BitChute, all that. Well, we had many of you reach out saying, where can I see this? Where can I hear it? And so we are airing it this Saturday evening on all of our channels, live streaming, even on Telegram at 7 p.m. Central, 8 p.m. Eastern. Wanted to make sure that you knew about that. And so you'll be able to, if you can't listen live, it'll still be there on the Michelle Moore Show channels, and you'll be able to go through the shows and find it. And so you don't want to get to it till Sunday or sometime during the next week or so with the holidays. We understand, and obviously, and it'll be there for you. So we just want to make sure you knew about that as well. Also, I've been kind of meaning to talk about this, but I keep forgetting to, and just didn't really know if it was that important, but it keeps coming up. So I just want to mention, there is an automated email that goes out to our customers with Godly Granny. And so the email absolutely goes out. So if you don't get the email, it's usually almost always, like 99.999% of the time, it comes down to three things. Either there's no email for your account. Some people somehow check out and don't have an email address that they've given us, or you've put the wrong email address in, or it's in your spam folder. And so, like 99.999% of the time, it's one of those three things. And so we just want to make sure you knew that, so that way it just is a lot for us to go looking and digging, and when it might just be in your spam folder. So I want to make sure you knew about that. Okay. Wow. I came across this. This is very intriguing. So did you know that there's a new movie that's coming out that is starring America's First Lady, Melania Trump? We have the trailer for you, just in case you haven't seen this. I think it's just dropped in the last day or so. But let's take a look at it so you can see.
Here we go again.
You can come in. Good morning. Our proudest legacy will be that of peacemaker.
Peacemaker in the fire. Beautiful. Together, with like-minded leaders, we have a voice. Is it safe?
It is safe.
Everyone wants to know. So here it is. Hi, Mr. President. Congratulations.
Did you watch it?
I did not. Yeah, I will see it on the news.
All right, exclusively in theaters, January the 30th. By the way, January the 30th is Michelle Aganza. Mark your calendars. It's the day before my birthday. My birthday lands on a Saturday this year, which probably makes more sense than anything, just because it was a Friday last year, earlier this year. So it makes sense. So excited about that. The date has been set. Mark your calendars. It's an Aganza. It's coming. We're celebrating my birthday. It's going to be fun. I'm already making plans. And so I'm excited about it. I enjoy the Aganzas, and I know you guys do too. So fun. I saw Tanya Jones. She says, Godly Granny's a lot like Jesus. Got to share it with everyone. I love that. You know what it is? I don't think that I really thought about it at the time, because I've got the story about the name and all of that, and all of the backstory about how Godly Granny became the named Godly Granny, and what was my thought, my heart behind it at the time. And so, but it's just interesting because what it's ended up doing, not only for myself, but many of you have shared stories of where just the name Godly Granny has ended up kind of almost like witnessing to people. And I've had a couple of customers reach out and say, "Hey, I use your products. I'm not a Christian, but I use your products. I hope that's okay." And so I thought that was interesting. Like, oh no, we only make products for believers. I just thought it was crazy. But anyways, and so like crazy great. Like, wow, they said that. And so I just think that, God can use it in so many different ways and you never really know. And I just wanted to share that it's something that I guess I just didn't see coming. And so let's see, Barbara is asking, how's Mark Taylor doing and his dad? They definitely need your prayers. It's a lot going on. And so we'll leave it at that. But he definitely keep them in your prayers, and his sister. So Mark's got a sister and a wife, and they got a lot going on. Black Diamond said, Michelle, I wish that you could put your great skills to work as far as getting Steve Jarvis to be a household name so that we can demand his farm plans. I know. It's just, well, we're doing everything that we can. Steve is really working hard and has got a good plan going. And so far, what I'm hearing from Steve is that the meetings are going phenomenally well. So we'll see how that goes when we get back in January. I'm sure we'll be having him on and have an update. Let's see. Black Diamond says, and your hair looks great like that. Thank you. I think it makes me look younger. What do y'all think? I think it makes me look younger. January, I'm going to be turning 53. I'm getting up there, y'all. Okay, so got some stuff to cover today. I love it because, I'm so blessed in just so many ways. Can I just say that? I have the best Michelle family. Y'all are just amazing. Can I just say that? I just want y'all to know that I really do appreciate you. And I'm feeling heavy-hearted. In fact, during the opening video, I almost started crying. I'm going to try not to now. We have a viewer Natalie. Many of you have heard me talk about her. She's in the hospital right now. She's extremely sick. She needs your prayers. And so I'm staying up to date and in touch with her husband, and just got a update a little while ago. She's the one that reached out to me. So just a little backstory about Natalie. Huge fan of the show, loves Godly Granny, like many of you, just loves it. And in fact, there was a Godly Granny product for pain that she said was the only thing that was really helping her at one point. And the pain is extremely bad right now. And she is being diagnosed with having cancer all throughout her body. And they're saying it's in the lungs, it's all throughout. Now, Tuesday, as many of you know that have been here and part of the family for a long time, that I've shared Joe Tippin's story over and over and over. It's actually kind of hard to get sometimes, but we've aired it as its own video, so that way you can share it on your social media. We have really put it on the map and done our part in many, many times and in many ways, in many shows, just the whole thing. And we just aired it again on Tuesday. So, which by the way, Tuesday was a completely spirit-led show. I just kept feeling prompted. And so anyways, what happened is he was sent home, like given 6 months to live. This was years ago. And so those of you that are not familiar with his story, producer Ron, will you please put the link to that video, to his testimony? Even Tuesday's show would be great to put that in the link for today's show description, so that way people can easily find it. So if you're watching on Rumble on the Michelle Moore Show channel, you'll be able to look in the show description for today's show, and you'll be able to find it there for you. Okay. So this is the show I'm talking about, which was just this past Tuesday show. And I had known for about a week that it was time for me to do another update of Dr. Macca's success stories. And then it came to me about doing Joe Tippin's, and then that testimony, I was like, oh, well, of course. And then that morning I came across the other gentleman that we shared his testimony right after Joe Tippin's that day. So anyways, and so, one thing that stood out to me is it was in his bones. I think I missed that all these times. But when I was watching it on Tuesday, you know how sometimes you watch something, you might have seen it or heard it 5, 6, 7, 10, 12 times. And then all of a sudden it just hits you different. And you go, wait a minute, I missed this detail. And I don't know how I missed it or forgot it or whatever. I don't think I ever knew it. I think I've just missed it every time. But I just always, because it always struck me that he was sent home and was told he was going to die, that he had 6 months, go home, get your affairs in order. And I think I just missed the fact that it was in his bones even. And that man, years later, is still alive, doing well, really well. So, anyways, Natalie is not doing well, and she needs our prayers. And so, a lot of people going through a lot right now. And so, I just want to say, she's the other thing too on Tuesday that stuck out to me. If you go back and you listen, you'll see where these people are still doing what their doctors are, whether it's radiation or whatever it is, but they're also quietly not telling their doctors about the MACAS protocols. And they're doing both. They're going through the radiation or the chemo, but they're also doing the other stuff, the ivermectin, the mebendazole, or the fenbendazole. And so whichever one is what's best for whatever the situation is that the patients have had, that he's had. But I thought that, this is important that we keep that in mind. Like, sometimes it's just best to do both. It's not one or the other. And so I thought that really struck me the other day. And I just want to make sure, that everybody, just keeps that in mind. It's not always one or the other. Okay. So last night, President Donald Trump spoke to the country and he had a big announcement. I don't know if you heard about it, but let's take a listen.
Along with the just passed One Big Beautiful Bill, tonight I am also proud to announce that more than 1,450,000, think of this, 1,450,000 military service members will receive a special, we call Warrior Dividend before Christmas, a Warrior Dividend. In honor of our nation's founding in 1776, we are sending every soldier $1,776. Think of that. And the checks are already on the way. Nobody understood that one until about 30 minutes ago.
Okay, so that sounds great. Amazing. But I also happen to have a couple of other videos that I had pulled for today. And I just got to thinking about it, look, that sounds great. I guess where I'm at is we're still paying taxes. So where's the money coming from? And he's saying that it is, I guess he's claiming that it's from the other stuff he's been doing. And I guess I'm just kind of waiting to see, Rome wasn't built in a day, and, you eat an elephant one bite at a time. And so I'm just wondering where this is going to be going. What I'd like to see is that the IRS goes away, the tax system goes away. So I loved this because I had come across a video that I'd saved where the gentleman is talking about some of the historical stuff about the IRS. In fact, we may have Jack and Margie back soon to talk about some of this from a historical perspective and a constitutional perspective, a little bit deeper. This video would be great to show them and have them weigh in on, actually. So let's listen to what this gentleman says about the federal tax system. Let's listen.
Why aren't schools teaching that there was no federal income tax the first 137 years America was a country? Because there was no legal federal income tax between 1776 until 1913 when they amended or changed the US Constitution. They imposed an income tax for 12 years during the Civil War and in 1894 and 1895, but that was found unconstitutional. It was in the Supreme Court case Pollock v. Farmers Loan and Trust Company, and they struck down the federal income tax. And it remained unconstitutional for another 17 years until 1913 when they passed the 16th Amendment and changed the Constitution. And it has been a little over 120 years since they did that, which means there was no legal federal income tax for the majority of American history. People think that all of these taxes, all of this government intrusion into our lives is the norm, but it is not the norm. This is the norm. This is 1776, and the reason America was the manufacturing center of the world in 1912. America had the largest and most prosperous middle class in the history of the world. American steel, American oil, American automotive. But in 1913, they changed the Constitution, which was the same year that they created a national bank. So right at the same time as they gave the government the ability to reach into our pockets and take our money, they also gave a small group of powerful bankers a monopoly over the printing of the dollar. And they print money out of thin air. They lend the money that they printed to the government, and the government agrees to pay them back with interest using the money that they take from us. And that is why the dollar has been so devalued. That is why you can't afford a house. And it's why college is so expensive. Because for 137 years, America was about prosperity. And since then, it's been about whatever this is.
Okay, so did we learn this in school? I didn't. Did you? Please weigh in on the live chat on Rumble if you learned it, because I sure wasn't taught about all of this in school. It wasn't until we start going down those rabbit holes that we end up finding out all different kinds of stuff. So he says in 1912, America had a massively successful middle class. So the year before all this happened, he says, and by the way, if we were to just get some paper out and start printing money, we would be arrested for counterfeiting. Okay. But you realize that is exactly what they're doing. And so this is an issue. Okay. Let's listen. I have a second video. Let's listen to this one.
This is Jekyll Island, where in 1910, representatives from the Rockefellers, Rothschilds, Morgans, and other private bankers gathered secretly to draft the legislation that would create the Federal Reserve. I found it revealing that in the same year the Federal Reserve was founded, 1913, the Internal Revenue Service was also established. An income tax was then instigated so you and I would have to pay the politicians' debt plus interest to the bankers.
The problem is we have a privately owned central bank system in the United States disguised as a government-owned system. Now, if you look in the telephone book here in the Washington, D.C. area, you look up for Federal Reserve in the blue government pages, it's not there. It's in the white pages right next to Federal Express. It's a privately owned central bank.
Central banks are banking.
Okay. What G. Edward Griffin goes to say is that the central banks are banking cartels, but it cuts off there on that video. So for those that don't know, he's the author of The Creature from Jekyll Island, which is where all these people met and cooked up this whole, plan, and what actually ended up getting implemented in 1913. So anyways, okay. So did you hear, though, the gentleman who said privately owned central bank system? We have a privately owned central bank system that's disguised as a government owned banking system. And you heard him say that about the white pages, and it's listed right there beside FedEx or whatever. And so there you go. There you go. That's again, and I'm also reminded of our list that's on michellemooreshow.com with all of the for-profit numbers that are listed that each entity has, all these 3-letter agencies. I remember back almost 7 years ago now, during the slowing of the spread, and just being shocked that these entities are not like governmental departments, and that they're for-profit institutions. And the CDC, you mean what do you mean that they make money selling vaccines? Like, that's a conflict of interest. What are you talking about? That they do things with Bill Gates, like the guy that says there's too many people that are populating our world. Hello. And so this is all just part of it. And so I thought it was interesting, though. First of all, I want to say I've got a list of taxes here. So the average American pays property tax, sales tax, a state income tax in many cases, marriage license fees, a local school tax. I paid twice as much in my property taxes because I was in a special school district. yes, we were able to have have special things for my kids because we paid an outrageous property tax. But the truth of the matter is that all schools should have amazing education, and that should have been the norm, and not have to pay property taxes that are outrageous to get it. Marriage license fees, the local school tax, okay, vehicle registration tax, a business permit fees, estate tax, waste management tax, cigarette tax, court fees, a dog license tax, a garbage tax, a gasoline tax, a driver's license fees, which, by the way, we shouldn't even have to have a driver's license. You should have, we're all travelers, and you should have a passport. That's all you really need, or should need. Should, keyword here. But, that's a whole nother thing because we're under a different system. But a gift tax, a gun ownership tax, so security taxes, unemployment taxes, a fishing license fee, highway toll fees, hotel tax, hunting license fees, import taxes, health insurance tax, inheritance tax, insect control tax, inspection fees, IRS interest and penalty charge, library card fees, license plate fees, liquor tax, luxury tax, Medicare tax, parking meter fees, passport fees, biodiesel fuel tax, an air transportation tax, professional license fees, recreational vehicle tax, self-employment tax, sewer and water tax, service charge taxes, sports stadium taxes, state park entrance fees, tanning tax. Do you go to the tanning salon and they charge a tax? 911 service tax, universal service fees, a tire tax, and the federal income tax. Okay. So I saw that this morning and was like, holy moly. Seemed like I thought of something else too that wasn't on here. But, I was just going to say, so I've noticed some of the states that you guys live in, and the county and the city and all that, sometimes the taxes that we have to collect are literally 3 different entities. It's mind-blowing what shows up on what you are having to pay on taxes to us, and so that we can then turn around and pay that. So we have to collect the sales tax, but it's not just a sales tax for your state. It's a lot of times, there are some of you that are paying 3 different taxes. It's crazy. So you're paying the federal tax, and it's crazy. So, okay, breathing fees, LOL. Pierre's mom said that's true. All right. Let's see. Federal Reserve. There's nothing federal about it, and there isn't any reserve, right? That's a great point. Okay, so KM Sunshine says, I'm waiting for my property tax and income tax to be abolished. Governor Abbott is dangling the carrot of eliminating taxes if we vote for him again. And how many times has he, I tweeted about this recently, KM, how many times has he been, or how many years has he been in office? And now all of a sudden he needs to be reelected? Right. Don't hold your breath. That's what I'm saying. It's been like 11 years or something he's been governor. Yeah. I smell skunk. And I've said that before. It's just like with DeSantis. I think some of this is posturing to get people like all excited, like you said, kind of getting all these empty promises. And so, because we've heard this stuff, it's just like with DeSantis. DeSantis has said no property taxes in Florida. They're still paying property taxes in Florida. So until, like, show me some tangible proof, I think they're all full of El Crapo. And I like I said, I'm not really very happy that we're even talking like this even with Trump. Like, I just don't understand it. And so I'd like to see us abolish the IRS and do away with these taxes. And so until that happens, something's wrong. Something's very off. So another viewer says, when I sold my home in Illinois, I had to pay a transfer fee to move out. See, it's just crazy. Just like when you own your home outright and you're still paying property taxes. How is that? And then they can put a lien on your property for not paying the taxes. It's insane. Black Diamond said, but I heard that the National Defense Bill is pouring tons of money to Israel, Ukraine, and over 100 other countries. Ugh, I'm sick of it. Yeah, me too. Yeah. I mean, how are we giving other people money when we are in the red. So we're already in the hole, trillions and trillions. So how does that make sense? Tanya Jones says, went to Walmart the other day and we're paying North Carolina state taxes and a county tax as well. Yeah, I've seen 3 listed. I'm gonna have to pay attention and talk about this next when we get back from break. You said, I guess we're paying the property tax for Walmart. Yeah, there's no telling. Well, you know about the what's that program called? Not SNAP. So, we ended up covering that not too long ago about how Walmart wants SNAP to be those SNAP benefits and things. They want people to be able to buy Coca-Cola and all the candy bars and stuff because Walmart makes a lot of money off of that. And I think a lot of it's money laundering, personally. Just laundering it right over to Walmart, who's the deep state too. We know they're all in. They're got to be in on a bunch of stuff that we have been finding out about. So, hey, have you seen the conspiracy theory episodes that Jesse Ventura did? We aired those. I don't know if they're on the Michelle Moore show, but they were on the Truth Talk America network, so they may not be up anymore. I have to ask producer Ron about that. But there were some things going on at Walmart's and that he shares in some of those episodes. And so that'd be a good, I always talk about those episodes because there's so much that's covered in there. Okay, so Robert Kiyosaki had a post that we're going to read to you talking about money. And so let's take a look at what he says. He says, the most powerful man in the world, not Donald Trump, just admitted that he can't fix this crisis. His name is Jerome Powell. Most people don't know who he is, and that's the problem. That's true. He's the chairman of the Federal Reserve. Now, we're talking about the Federal Reserve. What are we talking about? The Federal Reserve that isn't federal and doesn't have any reserve. Okay, so he's saying, he's the most powerful man in the world. The person who controls interest rates, money printing, and liquidity for the entire U.S. economy. Presidents come and go. Powell controls the money. You hear Robert Kiyosaki saying all this? And recently, Powell said something that should have stopped people in their tracks. There is no risk-free path forward. Let me reread that part. There is no risk-free path forward. Okay, we're going to go on. I'm going to unpack some of this for you. That wasn't a warning. That was an admission. It means the system is already broken, and every option left causes pain. And every option left causes pain. Hear that part? All right. For years, the Federal Reserve did what every empire does at the end of a debt cycle. They printed trillions of dollars. They held interest rates near zero, inflated stocks, real estate, and bonds, encouraged debt at every level. It worked until inflation showed up. Now the Fed is trapped, talking about the Federal Reserve. If Powell keeps rates high, credit dries up, businesses fail, jobs disappear, recession deepens. If Powell cuts the rates too soon, inflation explodes again, the dollar loses purchasing power, savers get destroyed quietly. It means the system is already broken and every option left causes pain. For years, the Federal Reserve did what every empire does at the end of the debt cycle. Printed trillions of dollars, held interest rates near zero. Producer Ron, isn't this what I just read? Yeah, I already read this part. So go on to the next one. That's why he said that there is no risk-free path. The choice is no longer growth versus stability. The choice is inflation or recession. Did you hear that? That's why he said there's no risk-free path. Remember on the first image, the choice is no longer growth versus stability. The choice is inflation or recession. Inflation or recession. What do we have right now? We have a lot of inflation. That's why people can't afford anything. That's why grown children are still living at home. Silent pain or violent pain. And here, so like inflation, it's silent pain, right? We're all talking about it on here, but for the most part, people are silently trying to make ends meet, and it's because of the inflation. All right. So, and here's the part most people don't understand, that the Federal Reserve's job is not to save you, it's to save the financial system. system, the word system, the financial system. If inflation slowly erodes your savings, the system survives. If unemployment spikes, the system resets. Either way, individuals pay. History has already shown us this. In the 1970s, inflation wiped out savers. In 2008, the recession wiped out jobs. In 2020, money printed destroyed discipline. Now all three are colliding. This is why I've said for decades, this is Robert Kiyosaki saying, and he was the one that wrote Rich Dad, Poor Dad. He says, don't depend on promises. Don't depend on paychecks. Don't depend on paper money. Paper wealth dies quietly in inflation. Wage income dies loudly in recession. But real assets behave differently. They adjust, they produce cash flow, they give you options when the systems fail. This isn't fear, it's financial education. In other words, he's trying to educate us. He says, when the most powerful man in the financial world tells you there's no safe solution, he's telling you one thing: you're on your own. Okay, so he says the government can't save you. The Fed can't save you. The real question is this: will you wait and hope that they fix it? Or will you understand the warning and prepare before everyone else does? Because when the people in charge admit there's no risk-free path, history says the prepared always win. So what is he saying that is their solution? I can tell you that Robert Kiyosaki talks all the time about metals. And so I would suspect that that's what he's referring to. He talks about it all the time. So if you want to look into metals, I highly recommend Universal Coin and Bullion. Their stuff is always in the links and stuff for each show description. But I thought this was very interesting when he's saying, hey, there's no easy way out of this. And he's talking about the savers. So you don't want your money saved just sitting in a checking account. It's not earning any money. So that makes sense. And I understand what he's saying. And so, and that's what he talks about is metals. And so I get it. Okay. So wanted to make sure that you knew about that. I thought it was very interesting. We monitor what he has to say because so much of that is applicable. We need to know, we need to be aware of what he's saying. So let's see here. Barbara says, Cub Food on Rockford Road, buying groceries. There is taxes in the groceries bill. Minnesota tax is 4.16. Hennepin tax or city tax is 30 cents. Transit tax is 9 cents. Geez. And then there's another Metro. I don't know what HT stands for, city. And says 61 cents. Geez Louise. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. I mean, some of you all, after you see what, like all of your items that you've purchased, and then there's a total, the tax section is what stands out. It's like how long it is. It's insane. And because each state and county, some of y'all have county and city taxes as well as the state tax. It's crazy. I just can't believe it. And so it's just been something that has stood out to me. Producer Ron says that he's put the link to Conspiracy Theory, all 3 seasons and episodes playlist that we have on the Michelle Moore Show Rumble channel. Okay, great. So just want to make sure you all know that those conspiracies, that's something good to watch. And I forget which episode it is. It's like in the first season, like episode 2 or 3 or so. There's some stuff about 9/11 I did not know. That I thought I knew pretty much all that was going on with all that, with all of the different things we've played and documentaries and all the stuff. And then there were still some shockers in there. I thought, oh, this is interesting. So he had some stuff in there I did not know. It's very interesting. But he goes all over, and I highly recommend that you watch it. And he has some stuff too. I want to say it's in the first few episodes of the first season, but maybe not. It was an episode where he talked with, I think, 3 different people. Now, this was like in the late 2010s or so that he did these episodes. I want to say there was 3 seasons. That's what producer Ron said is yes, all 3 seasons. So he had some people that he spoke with. I think it was 2 women and a man. Didn't know each other from what I could tell, but it had to do with these towers and things. You got to watch it. It's interesting. And what was happening to these people who made government politicians angry, and how they all had kind of a common theme. It was very interesting. and scary as all get out. It was, ugh. But anyways, okay. So came across a video this morning I wanted to share with you. You know, Christian comedian John Crist is how I say his name. Listen to what he has to say.
Tucker Carlson's birthday party. Marjorie Taylor Greene is there.
Wow.
Candace Owens is there.
Mm-hmm.
And there's like a bunch of Turning Point people there. A bunch of comics were there. And I'll just say it out loud for everybody listening. And I've said this before in some kind of context. Everybody friends. Everybody friends.
Mm-hmm.
Wait, I thought you, because the thing he said about shouldn't you guys be fighting?
Mm-hmm.
Shouldn't you guys be fist fighting in the center of this party?
Yeah.
Everybody, hey, you want a drink?
Yeah.
Everybody.
You see it. You see it when we do the Olympics every year too.
Everybody friends. Yeah. That's why I said, like, I just don't really spend a lot of time and effort and energy in a lot of this stuff because a lot of it's drama. A lot of it, no, this side of heaven, we're never really going to know the truth. There's so many ways that I think, I sit back and I think, wow, you know, the enemy he's really running rampant all over this earth. And I just, you know, the lies, the show, whatever you want to call it. These are people's lives. And I'm just telling you, I don't think it's so lighthearted and, you know, and then what about Candace Owens meeting with Erica Kirk earlier this week? And now she just, you know, miraculously says, oh, it's not as big of a conspiracy theory as I thought. And, you know, all this is like, okay, so all this just supposed to go away. Like, what does that mean? And so it's just very odd, the whole thing. And that's why I just don't spend a lot of time and effort and energy on it. What I do is I go back to what I heard the Holy Spirit showing me last year. And that was like, but when I'm looking at something, look at it through like, I look at it now through the eyes of like, how does this change my viewers' lives? How does this impact them? How does this knowledge help them? And so it's just, I don't know. That's just the way it goes. So, okay. That's why we've done a lot of health things because everybody's touched by, you know, the whole shot stuff and kids, you know, that's it right there. That's what I was thinking about this morning. Like, we're still paying taxes. I'm not happy. It's been almost a year that Trump has been in office. We're still paying taxes. We're still paying property taxes. We're still paying income taxes. The IRS is still around. Yeah, I mean, if you look at him giving the military people that money, okay, I mean, that sounds great and all, but if you can give away money that you didn't make, you got it from us. You know, at the end of the day, the tariffs, it's just like Steve Jarvis explained. Look, the tariffs are off the backs of us. That's why the inflation is so bad. You think China just ate the money for the tariffs? I'm just saying, like, do you think that China just ate that money and said, oh, okay, well, we'll just take it? No, that's why everything's so stinking expensive. That's why inflation's so high. It's not just the money being printed. It's the prices of everything are so completely outrageous. That's just the truth. And so just saying, like, where's the relief for the American people? The American government does not sell a good and does not provide a service. So that would make them money. So where do they get their money? Us. So he's giving away our money. All right. What about our veterans? What about our elderly? Like, I'm all for helping the military, but that's the other thing. Why is the military got to be so big? Like, this goes back to the whole Tri-City state that we had with, I mean, producer Ron can get the image out. I use it all the time, but we have the Roman pyramid of power, and DC is over government war stuff. And so it's like, we're always going to war. We're always invading another country. Yeah. See? So when I hear like paying the military a bunch of money, I'm going, well, war and terror. So the Zionist government, Zionists, see how it all makes sense? And so this bothers me. I hate to bring it up, but it's just the truth. And so not only are we not getting any relief, but, he's giving away money that maybe we should be giving to our farmers. so that we don't end up where we don't have anything but 3D printed meat to eat. I don't know. Just something's not adding up to me. That's just where I'm at. And so while I am still paying all these taxes and they're still allowing children to be at the doctor's office today. There were children all over this country today that went to their pediatrician's offices and got flu shots. And as long as that is continuing without full disclosure and all the stuff that needs to happen for that and all the other shots that they're being forced to take so that the children can go to school, as long as this is going on, I just don't see where we're winning. That's just me. I don't see it. I am looking past all of the fluff, and just like with the military thing, a lot of people are going to go, wow, this is what I voted for. This is the new thing I see on X all the time and on Facebook. I voted for this, Well, I was voting for, like, I don't know, North Carolina to get some help, and I mean, real help, like the people, not like a golf course that gets over $1 million given to them to rebuild. Not a golf course, no. But has Jenica or her neighbors, anybody gotten any money? No. But a golf course, by all means, they got over $1 million given to them. See what I mean? No real help for the people. Oh, okay. So no mom and pop businesses. See how it works? So they're getting squeezed out more and more and more and more. See how it works? Producer Ron said to me today, he said, it's amazing how this mall does. It's, so many outdoor malls and stuff are struggling, and indoor malls, but he was talking with me about this mall that is doing well. And I said, yeah, but the thing about it is the city, this particular town doesn't have that we were talking about, that the mall is located in. I said, doesn't really have anything else but a few boutiques. I said, if you think about it, boutiques are owned by what? Individuals, small business owners. And we see less and less of those all the time. See? So I'm just saying. KM Sunshine says, I see two actresses, Owens and Kirk, vying for the Oscar. I know, right? Yeah. And look, if you look upon, I guess we'd have to look and see, but I'm sure Erica Kirk is on there with all her television stuff. But, Candace Owens is on that. What is it called? The DB? What is that website where it shows all the actors and actresses? She's got a file on there. And so, she's an actress. And so it just makes me wonder. But yeah, golf courses, not small businesses getting the money. Just saying. IMDb. Thank you, Producer Ron. Yeah. Your website shows you who's produced, or, just in the movie industry in all different kinds of ways. And, Candace got an account on, she's got a profile on there, just like all the other actors and actresses. So yeah. Black Diamond said, I thought that his speech was skunk. Sorry. Speech skunk. Stunk. I'm sorry, stunk. And then she has the skunk. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I'm just saying, like, I want it to be great. I want to see some things happening that are just amazing. And, everybody and their brothers talking about the Rob Reiner thing and trying to claim that it's related to this and that and what he did, and prove it. Prove it. Like, at this point, we are talking about years, and we really don't have tangible, outright proof. But people want to go, but look, we haven't seen this, or we haven't seen. I mean, we're owed Fauci having a perp walk. We're owed Deborah Birx having a perp walk. Like, that woman wrote a book and admitted she lied. Where is the justice? She's even admitted it. It's not like accusations, and they've admitted this stuff. And she's still walking around a free woman. She is the craziest crap I've ever seen in my life. But hey, why don't you get some paper out and start counterfeiting, and let's see how that goes for you. You'll go to prison. But Deborah Birx can get on there and lie to you all day long, and to the country, to the world. And she's just fine. In fact, even admits it in a book in black and white. See what I'm saying? It's crazy. All right, let's listen. Paul Harvey, I used to listen to him when I was in college. And when I would get out of college classes, I'd get in the car and he'd be on. And so I got to where I was listening to him. And so, but I came across this video. I thought it was very interesting. I wanted to share it with you. It's another, here's the rest of the story. So let's take a listen.
And now, the rest of the story. Hey, diddle, diddle, the cat and the fiddle, the cow jumped over the moon. The little dog laughed to see such sport, and the dish ran away with the spoon. Well, now that rhyme is not nearly so nonsensical as you think. But that, well, that is the rest of the story. Elizabeth Foster was born in 1665 in England, and she didn't dare repeat that verse out loud until she got to this side of the Atlantic, because her verse was poking some pretty pointed fun at Queen Elizabeth and her court. You see, in those days, every queen was called a cat. Elizabeth did play the fiddle. The little dog was her lover, the Earl of Leicester, and the spoon referred to Lady Catherine Grey, a lady-in-waiting who tasted every dish before it was served to Her Majesty. The dish, well, that was the Earl of Hertford, custodian of the Queen's tableware, and it was he who eloped with Lady Catherine. And you thought this was kid stuff? Elizabeth Foster came to the United States with her little poem, married a widower in Boston named Isaac Goose, who had 10 children. Elizabeth became Mother Goose, that's right, to 10 children, and for the amusement of her 10 stepchildren, Mrs. Goose recited other little verses, which she had brought from England or written en route. The one about Mary, Mary, quite contrary, that referred to Mary, Queen of Scots. King George was Georgie Porgy, who kissed the girls and made them cry. Edward VI, who seized farms for sheep pastures, was lampooned in her verse, Ba, Ba, Black Sheep. Eventually, the second Mrs. Goose had another 10 children. Now there were 20. Her little verses became necessary bedtime ditties with which to put her enormous brood to sleep, and it was about this time that she wrote of the old woman who lived in a shoe, who had so many children she didn't know what to do. And yet the rhymes, which are now so familiar, might never have been heard outside the nursery, except that one day, while Mrs. Goose was still cooing verses to the most recent offspring, some of the earlier ones were ripening for marriage, and there appeared upon the scene one Thomas Fleet from Shropshire, England, and he wooed and won one of the Goose daughters. But he, a staunch Tory, did not like the way Mrs. Goose poked fun at the crown, and eventually his antagonism mounted to a fury, and he sought in callous ire to brand her publicly. Now, Fleet was a printer. So in 1719, he copied down those verses, and he published them in a pamphlet referring to the author as Old Mother Goose. In this way, he sought to alienate all of the Back Bay from his stepmother-in-law. This young Fleet was certain would silence her impertinence forever. But to Fleet's dismay, the pamphlet was praised. Everybody wanted a copy. Instead of demanding the author's scalp, they demanded a second printing. And Mother Goose will have an audience for as long as there are children. Though it was certainly not for children that she wrote needles and pins, when a man marries, his troubles begin. That reference was to Henry VIII and his fifth wife, Catherine Howard, who introduced pins from France before she lost her head. Soon husbands had to provide their wives with special allowances for this luxury, and that's when the phrase pin money was injected into our language. Oh, yes, these lines, each concealing some sharp barb, these verses designed to unstuff the pompous politicians and expose the royal scandals, became nursery rhymes. They became nursery rhymes because a printer named Thomas Fleet deliberately tried to discredit his stepmother-in-law and immortalized her instead. And now you know the rest of the story.
Well, there you go. That didn't work out for him at all. All right. So a little girl asks her father, what does it mean for a woman to submit to a man? Listen to how this goes. Let's listen.
Dad, what does it mean for a woman to submit to a man?
So it's a very controversial topic, Maria, okay? Because women like to do things their own way nowadays, and they don't want to submit to a man because they think that makes them lesser of a woman to submit to a man. Men are like an umbrella, and the world is like a thunderstorm. And women can either go out into the thunderstorm and get completely soaked and drenched, or
Under the umbrella?
What?
Or they can go under the umbrella?
Exactly. Or they can go under the umbrella. What a lot of women have a hard time realizing is that that umbrella is only useful to cover and protect her from the storm if she holds it up, right? So if a woman wants to be protected by the covering of a man, she has to then submit underneath his covering. and protection. But some women have a hard time with ego and pride that they don't want to be underneath another man. But what they fail to realize is that the umbrella can't be used for its intended purpose without the woman holding
The umbrella?
correct. What good does an umbrella do if you just hold it out to the side?
Nothing.
Nothing, exactly. But so many women want to be equal to men. They don't want to be underneath men, that they hold the umbrella out to the side, wondering why they keep getting drenched in the storm. But the way to be protected by the covering is to submit to being underneath it. Does that mean that the woman is less? No, it doesn't. Because guess what? The umbrella can't do its job without the support of the woman. Right? So men need women to support us so that we can cover them and protect them from storms. Here's the caveat to that. Men have to be full of integrity. Otherwise, even if a woman holds that umbrella up, she's still going to get drenched by the holes in the umbrella.
Oh, that was so good, so accurate. I have seen that image before where it shows like, the umbrella with the man, and then the umbrella that's a little bit smaller, that's obviously underneath the man's umbrella. That's the moms, and then the children. And so it was just so good. But I thought he did such a great job explaining that to her. I bet she is very blessed to have such a daddy that can explain things like that in such a great, tangible, understandable, like bite-sized way of explaining it that she can understand. So I thought that was so good and wanted to share it with you and bless you with it as well. Also, I heard this and this was so good. This is about the redemptive power of Christ. So this is so good, and it reminds me about what I say. I want you to hear this video, and I want you to think about what I'm always talking about how a person with an argument is no match for a person with an experience. All right, let's take a listen.
I said, Lord, Mark, I hate myself, man. I really hate the person I am, and I don't know what I'm going to do with my life. Like, I have no job skill. My mom don't answer the phone. I have nothing. This book is supposed to help me. I see the evidence of life being changed around me. I hear testimonies every day. People that are graduating the program, getting married, having kids, buying businesses. And it's just, I hate myself. Like, I hate the person. I'm like, I want to go get drugs, want to go get drunk, want to go numb again. And he said, Brian, I want you to pray this prayer. He said, close your eyes. He said, ask God to open up the eyes of your understanding first to receive his love and his forgiveness. And I'm telling you, man, I prayed that prayer so hard because I was so angry and so mad at the person standing in the mirror. I just wanted to die. And I prayed that prayer so hard. He said, now continue to read. And I said, God, can you please help me to forgive myself? Can you just please come and live in me? God, can you just take away this bondage? And I kept reading, and I came across a verse in the Bible, October 6th. It was 1 Timothy 1:13. It says, once I was a blasphemer, I was a persecutor, and I was a violent man, but I obtained mercy because I did it ignorantly in unbelief. See, I didn't understand Paul's life at that time, but I knew everything I've ever did because I knew God. Not that it was okay. It was that I did it in ignorance. And now that I know that God really has lived, he really did come fully God and fully human to die on the cross for me. The shedding of his blood was the atonement of my sin. And I really believed that. Man, I literally felt this weight lift off me. I felt the Holy Spirit come inside me. And my life changed. And I started having this unspeakable joy. Like, I stopped having nightmares. I started understanding the Bible. It started becoming real.
Okay, so this reminded me of something. Listening to his testimony is so good. Okay, so one time I heard the Holy Spirit, and this was about what this guy's talking about having, like, forgiving yourself. And what the Holy Spirit had told me about was when you've repented, right? You've said, God, forgive me. I repent. For this or that. And a lot of people think they can out-sin God's forgiveness, by the way. And you just, don't think that much of yourself because that's not a good thing, because that's just not true. And so people will be like, I've shared that I've spoken at Christian women's conferences and stuff, and people will reach out to me and they'll be like, but you don't know what I've done. Okay. Yes, I don't know, and I don't need to know. What I do know is that God knows, and that God doesn't, like, where in the Bible does it say, well, I'm going to forgive you, but unless you've done this and that, and so people sometimes think they can just out sin. They are having that, and they're sitting in that that shame and whatever. And it was something that the Holy Spirit showed me one time. It's like people think that they can outsin my forgiveness, my grace. And so what he said to me though, going back, and so when someone has repented and they've asked for forgiveness, God gives that forgiveness, right? And so, but then what happens is they won't forgive themselves. And what God said to me one day is when they do that, he said it's them saying that my forgiveness is not enough. Like, oh, I've forgiven them, but that's not enough. Like they got to sit in that. They got to sit in that shame. They got to sit in that regret. And it's like, but God has forgiven it. He's wiped it away. And so it makes no sense. And it's like, accept the forgiveness. And the enemy wants to let you beat yourself up all day long. He'll whisper reminders and all different kinds of things. And so, but the fact of the matter is you have to stand, you have to remind yourself, you have to meditate on that. You have to remember, you have to read the word of God, and you have to say, well, but my heavenly Father has forgiven me, and I stand on his promises and his word because he's not a liar, and so he's a promise keeper. And so he has forgiven me. And it's so sad too, because I know there are people that they are so tormented. That's really the word. And I have witnessed people that were so tormented that I loved and cared about, and would see even in church, one specific person that I know of. And that man, he was so tormented. And every time that there was an altar call, he was up there rededicating his life every single time, week after week, all the time. He was up there. But yet, he was just so tormented. And it was just sad. It was sad to watch. He's not with us anymore. He passed away very early. He had an alcohol issue, and it just took its toll on his life. And it was horrific. But I loved him, and he had the sweetest heart, and he could be the biggest life of the party. He had the biggest personality. And usually that's what happens. That's what I've learned. A lot of times the biggest life of the party is the one with the most to hide, the most pain that they're keeping hidden behind kind of their walls and stuff. And so I do want to go back, and I want to say something about G Hope 17 says something about how that umbrella, that many women have been abused by that umbrella. And I think that's a great point. And I think that it's important to also note that, to whom much is given, much is required. And men who are called to be the umbrella, it's a big responsibility. It's a big responsibility. And so it's something that you can't take for granted. You can't abuse. You can't use it as a power of some kind. Just like he said, the dad said to the daughter, does that make her less than? No, she's just submitting. And so it's something that I think can be easily abused by the wrong men that aren't godly men, that don't take the responsibility and understand the role. To whom much is given, much is required. And I have said this many times, even in my own calling and my own anointings and things that God has called me to, a lot of times what I have found is that I'm in a position where I'm in leadership, or I have a big responsibility over people, or whatever it is. And it's like, to whom much is given, much is required. And I know that I, without a shadow of a doubt, am very aware and believe that I will have much to answer for. And so I will be held accountable. So I always keep and take those responsibilities extremely seriously. And so it's not something that's supposed to be taken lightly. And that's an example. It kind of runs parallel to what I'm talking about with men who have wives who are submitting to them. They need to remember, that they are the covering. There is a big responsibility. And so I hope G Hope 17, I hope that you appreciate that I went back and appreciate how I'm saying that, because that is the truth. And I appreciate the fact that you called that out or mentioned that in the chat, so that I would be prompted to say that, because it's important as well. So thank you, sweetie. Black Diamond on YouTube says, thanks for the show, Michelle and Ron. I hope that you can have Steve on often as possible. His light really shines. He does. And Black Diamond and others, if you haven't gone to michellemooreshow.com and downloaded his book, you should. It's on there for free. He gave it to all of you for free. Many of you, I get notified when you guys download it, and I'm still getting notifications where y'all are downloading it. And it's so good. So Christ Believer says, your hair is beautiful today. Oh, thank you. A few of you have said something about that. Thank you, honey. And yes, Tanya Jones, I saw that about the NASCAR driver. So I don't watch sports, so I've never heard of him, but I saw about his family. So his wife and children were on the plane. It seems like another NASCAR driver's family just was on a plane too, another small private plane. And what was it, not even a month ago? And that one also crashed. And so a lot going on there. I hope that you all have enjoyed today's show. Don't forget, we'll be here live tomorrow. And then we're going to have our winter break. And so we're going to be taking care of a lot of things. Viewer Natalie has been on ivermectin and fenbendazole, I think is the one that she's on, for about a month now. And so I immediately reached out to her when we got the news and helped with all that to make sure that she got what she needed. And so she's not been able to work. And so, and her husband also has not been working for like 3 weeks. He is a repair person for like appliances and stuff. And so, which praise God for people like that. I had to have an appliance repair person early this year. And I was like, do people even still repair appliances? I didn't even know for sure. And that guy showed up and he had all the equipment. And I was just so grateful for him. And so anyways, I hope that you've enjoyed today's show. And we'll see you right here next time on the Michelle Moore Show. Hi, friends. It's Michelle Moore. And when it comes to protecting your retirement, I believe in taking smart, steady steps. Bank of America analysts call gold the ultimate safe haven. And when it comes to precious metals, I trust Universal Coin and Bullion, the official rare coin and bullion dealer of my show. They have been named the best in their industry, both nationally and regionally, by leading organizations. Consider a gold IRA, a time-tested way to diversify your portfolio with real tangible assets, which lets you move a portion of your retirement savings into physical gold, helping protect your wealth from inflation, market swings, and economic uncertainty. And Universal Coin and Bullion makes the process easy. From rollovers to delivery, they walk you through every step, even if you have one with another gold company. Protect what you've worked so hard to build from the team that I trust, Universal Coin and Bullion, at 800-321-8700, and make sure to tell them Michelle sent you.
Hi, I'm Linda Bamber Olson, the inventor of the Wave Watch, the world's first frequency therapy watch. It features over 1,100 targeted frequencies combined into 150 playlists for ease of use. These sounds are acoustical and they move through your body, through your skin and your bones. You don't necessarily have to hear it. As each frequency goes through, it can be realigning, revitalizing, reconnecting, and even rebalancing your body all the way to the cellular level. So that's why we have so many testimonies for aches, ADD and ADHD, allergies, colds and flu, dental, emotions, headaches, joints, kidney stones, nerves, organs, skin health, swelling, tremors, vagus nerve, and so many more. Use this code for $100 off when you purchase the Wave Watch. Thanks for learning about frequencies, using them, and supporting the Wave Watch.
There aren't a lot of reasons to use Godly Granny products. There's every reason, because every time you twist or flip a cap on something from Godly Granny, you're voting no to chemicals and yes to common sense, but without all the electronic voting machines. With Godly Granny, there's no toxins, no chemicals, no endocrine disruptors, no cancer-chasing filler. Godly Granny is a small batch, made-to-order, deeply naturopathic wellness brand. Founded on biblical truth, formulated with pure purpose, and handcrafted by saved folks who know that freedom doesn't come from fake lavender and phthalates. Go to godlygranny.com today. Be sure and use the discount code Michelle10 at checkout to receive 10% off your entire order.
For Michelle's social media links, go to michellemooreshow.com.